All right, warriors. Let's go ahead and do our IPS notes. Just going to give you a brief overview here. You can also pull up. We have slides for chapter 28 as well. The slides, I really encourage you to go through them. They're going to help you build uh, your IPS and help with your project. Um, the slides, I've tried to be very succinct in these slides, so it shouldn't take you too long. There's lots of visuals, and I think they'll be a big help. So let's go ahead and get started here. What is the investment policy statement and why is it needed? Investment policy statement is the starting point of the investment management process. It gives the investment manager a greater understanding of the client's situation, what they're looking to gain, um, in their risk profile. So not all investors are the same. Some people are very risk averse and don't want to lose money. Some people are bigger gamblers and are willing to take more risk to get more return. And so our investment policy statement tells about us or the institution and what their goals are, what they're looking to get out of their investments. If you were to hand over your life savings um, to an investment advisor to manage, what are some things your portfolio manager should know about you? Um, can you guys think of anything? What type of return you want? Um, Maybe you don't want your money involved in the tobacco industry um, or nuclear industry or gambling or abortion industry. Um, so if you guys could think of anything unique, go ahead and about yourself, go ahead and put that down. Why is it important that your investment advisor, know these things about you and that it is in writing? Well, if they don't know this, then they can't manage your money in accordance with how you'd like it invested. But the kicker here is, why is it important that it's in writing? And it's important that it's in writing because it creates a legal obligation. So you'll see a lot of financial advisors don't like to do an an investment policy statement because if anything ever happened, you could go to court and say it's right here in the investment policy statement. But if they don't have that, then they can say I didn't know. So that's why for you, it's very important for it to be in writing. So let's break down. Let's break our IPS down into objectives and constraints. An objective is what I want my portfolio to achieve, while a constraint is a boundary on my portfolio's ability to achieve my goal. I want to achieve a 6% return. Is that a boundary or a constraint? Okay. I don't want my money involved in the blank industry. Is that a boundary or a constraint? Okay. Um, so actually, yep. What are the most common constraints placed on the management of a portfolio? Um, so if you remember TTLLU, our time horizon, our tax status, our liquidity, our legal and regulatory, and our unique circumstances. So our time horizon tells us over what time period we have to invest. So I'm looking to invest this for my retirement. I have 30 years until I plan to retirement. Our tax status, well, you could be uh, a tax exempt institution, or it could be a 401k plan where we're not dealing with paying our capital gains. Liquidity, maybe, in 5 years from now, my children are going off to college and I want to use part of this money to help pay for their college. So it'd be a liquidity need. Legal and regulatory, this is anything that's going to be imposed by our government. Um, our, so for an institution, in order to keep tax exempt status, they might have to distribute 5% of the portfolio's value each year. And then unique circumstances such as I don't want to be invested in uh, the tobacco industry or the alcohol industry or the abortion industry or the nuclear industry. Um, any unique situation that's unique to an individual. If I have a short time horizon and plan to retire in 5 years, how does that impact my investment choices? Well, I'm going to give you an overview is that I can't take on as much risk, right? Because if the market tanks, we go into a recession, I won't have time to recover those losses. Whereas over a larger time period, I can take on that risk. And if we go through a nadir in the market, we'll have time to recover those losses. But to go ahead and fully answer this question, go ahead and check out both of these funds and then just click on the holdings of each fund and kind of look at how they're different. Number 7, I am a tax exempt institution. How can this impact my investment choices? Can make more tactical decisions. So, tactical is taking advantage of different market conditions. So, buying and selling is more indicative of tactical decisions. So, I'm going to reposition my portfolio to take advantage of this gap in the market. And the reason why tax exempt status is important here is because if you weren't tax exempt, every position you're going to sell, you're going to incur capital gains. So let's say, you've only owned a position for 6 months, but you sell out that to go into and take advantage of a new gap in the market. Well, you're going to have a short-term capital gains of 40%. So that could easily erode any returns that would be made by making that tactical decision. I have a son going to college next year and might need to liquidate 20% of my portfolio. How can this liquidity need impact my investment decisions? Well, again, we have a shorter time horizon. We need to stay more conservative with our investment choices. So we'll be less flexible in our investment choices. What is an investor's risk tolerance? So actually, if we jump over to our slides, um, here's actually our risk tolerance definition. Is the difference between our desire and our ability to take risk. Um, but we also have um, how our allocation changes over time. And we also have slides on investors' risk tolerance. And so risk tolerance is, somebody's willingness to take risk, not their ability. Um, Generally, entrepreneurs and people who are used to taking risks are okay with taking more risk, whereas people who have steadily worked a 9 to 5 type job and steadily accumulated their wealth over time have a lower risk tolerance. How do we evaluate our portfolio's performance? So let's just say our portfolio has 6% return last year. Is that good? Is that bad? Um, how do we evaluate that return? Well, we evaluate our returns, one, against the portfolio's goals, and two, against industry benchmarks. So passive indexes. In our last question here, let's put it all together. What are the main components of an investment policy statement? Um, so you'll find this in our slides over here. We're going to talk about our objectives. Trying to find the exact slide for you guys. So what we want on our investment policy statement are our objectives, our risk tolerance, our constraints, and those are going to be our main components of the investment policy statement. Okay, I will see you guys on the next video.